Welcome to Buffalo Camp Day Recap. I am Thad Brown along with Carl Jones. We are here at Highmark Stadium where the Bills got done with the return of the red and blue, the only stadium practice of camp. And Carl, let's start with the atmosphere. You know, as always, a great environment, huge cheers. Damar Hamlin got one, Josh Allen got one. It was a big party for these fans.
It just baffles me. For a practice, so many people come out. No game. I mean, there are referees here, but this doesn't count for anything. Yet to support this, to see all this, gives me a little goosebumps just being out here. Just, I don't know, it's awesome. I know the players felt it as well. And the lower bowl was completely filled for the most part. It was just awesome to see.
It's funny, it's a better atmosphere than a preseason game is, because with a preseason game, you got 2-minute timeouts and you got halftime. Whereas with this, it's just continuous practice, practice, practice. And even better, every single play the Bills win, you know, so it does make for a better environment than preseason games when it is more pomp and circumstance. You know, let's talk quick about Damar Hamlin. He did speak to the media again after this practice. A little bit of a hump for him, you know, it's back into a football stadium. It is in a game jersey, even though he really didn't hit. Talked about it afterward that there actually were some tears, you know, so, you know, you and I might sit here and talk about, well, what exactly hurdle did he pass? I don't know, but for him, clearly it meant a lot.
There's a lot of milestones he's passed over the past 2 weeks. First practice just over a week and a half ago. First time putting the pads on earlier this week, and now being in an NFL stadium. I'm sure a lot of emotions. And then this upcoming week with the preseason game. This 2-week period for him, I imagine, is a ton on his mentals. For just to clear this hurdle for him especially, doesn't matter what you and I think, it's him individually. And once again, just seeing all these fans, it's one thing to see it at Fisher, but to being in this stadium where all the love and support that he alluded to after practice, I imagine it meant the world to him.
He was the most coveted autograph after practice today. Now, don't ask me where Josh Allen was. He wasn't on the field. But Damar Hamlin, of the guys who were on the field, was the most coveted autograph. All right, let's talk about the practice a little bit. It was, you know, Sean McDermott said this would be a similar practice to Fisher, and it was. You know, I was expecting, because of the number of people, because it was in the stadium, they might go big. You know, a lot of deep balls, a lot of fun up and down. No, they ran what seemed like a bunch of running drills early. And the defense kind of, you know, were strong there. Did a lot of red zone late in practice, and a lot of it was 1-yard plays, which, you know, when it works for a touchdown is cool, but wasn't exactly the big up and down the field stuff football fans might want to cheer for. And I think the theme in terms of who did better today, this was a defense day over an offense day.
Oh, 100%. There was a lot of 3rd and 1 stuff, a lot of stuff on the 1-yard line and the red zone stuff. Outside of that, it wasn't a lot of opportunity for the offense to air it out, like you just alluded to. I thought the defensive line was strong. They had a couple of stalemates down here on the goal line, keeping the offense out. They didn't go live, so it's kind of hard to know, like, oh, what the offensive player would have broke that tackle.
Right.
You know, all those arguments in the locker room right now. Man, I would have scored. No, you wouldn't have. So I'm sure those arguments are going on as we speak right now. But I will give kudos to James Cook early on in practice. Offense backed up on their own goal line. He had a nice little 50-yard run. Had Poyer stuck for a little bit and bust out the outside. That's what the Bills want to see. You want to get the guy that you drafted last year, see that pop, that explosiveness, and that showed up early on in practice.
Receivers were, you know, drops were kind of the theme of the day. I think Gabe Davis had one. Dawson Knox had one where he more fell coming out of a break and missed a pass. There was a ball that went through Dalton Kincaid's hands. There's been much debate about whether the ball was tipped or not. We really don't know. But if it was tipped, it was tipped minusculely, still a play that he could have made. So there were opportunities for the offense to have a bigger day. There was a Stephon Diggs touchdown from about 12 yards away in red zone late. That was good. Trent Sherfield had a 1-yarder. So there were some offensive plays, but again, this was a day, you know, where the defense really won the day. Let's catch you up on the rotations. This was a Terrell Dotson day. No surprise there. The linebacker rotation continues. Cornerback too. I didn't see the whole practice, but from what I did see, it seemed like Dane Jackson had the majority of the corner 2 reps today. True?
Yeah, I would say so. It looked like Trey was the one getting taken out a lot, so it's kind of hard to see like who was the true CD.
Who's ahead of who? Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, right.
So I think they were subbing in for Trey for most of the practice.
So it was, you know, Dane and Kyer Elam for a significant amount of practice. At guard, Ryan Bates and Torrance, close to 50-50 today. Is that what we call it?
I would say so. By the end, there was a lot of Bates at guard, but early on it was, I mean, where you were there, it was mostly Torrance. So I don't know, maybe if he's more comfortable with the goal line reps and all that good type of stuff. But towards the end of practice, Bates was probably, I would say, 50-50.
So really no blood there, I would say. You know, this practice, I don't want to call it ceremonial. There was work being done. Sean McDermott was, you know, deadly serious on the sideline calling signals. But it really, like, you don't walk away from this practice feeling a whole lot different than you did on Thursday.
No, not at all. I mean, it was a lot of situational stuff, which will come up big time in the games, the important moments. But for us on the outside, it's a lot of blah. Like,
Yes.
It's a lot of blah. Like, don't get it twisted. 3rd and short is important. 3rd and on the goal line is important. 3rd and 8 from the 5 is, 3rd and 8 on the goal line is important. But for us,
It ain't easy on the eye.
it's not that great.
So as you might expect, not a ton of turkey burgers today. I'm going to give my one out to Khalil Shakir. You know, on a day where a lot of the top receivers outside of Stephon Diggs did not have many spectacular plays, had some drops. Shakir had a really nice catch in traffic over the middle. He's had a rough maybe first week or so at camp. I thought he was better today. And look, he needs to start stacking some good days. This was the first one for him.
And he started at slot early on, so maybe the confidence that he had early on in practice being thrusted into the starting lineup, quote unquote. There's no lineup at this point, but he was the first slot out there, so maybe that gave him a little bit of juice going into this practice. For me, going back to James Cook, that run right there was the only explosive of the day, but it set the tone early on for the offense, leaving my all-pro pole in his quicksand a little bit and forcing Micah Hyde to make a play on the sideline. Those are the plays that you want to see out of James Cook.
Those were exactly the point I was going to make as I was distracted by the lights being turned off. Yeah, they want us to get out of here. You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here. So we're all done for Buffalo Camp Day recap. We were done anyway. Yeah. For Carl Jones, I'm Thad Brown. Remember, we're going to have this again on Sunday when the Bills get back to practice at St. John Fisher. We'll be right here at RochesterFirst.com, and you can listen anywhere where you get your podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Sunday.